Greetings and salutations, everybody. We're back with more D&D Abeyance, so I'm going to turn things over to Nick since it's his game.
Yeah, so everyone, this is episode, I'm going to call it 2.5 of the campaign. We're very rudely interrupted by technical issues on my end. Those have been addressed. And also, I took shelter from a hurricane in between recordings, but here we are. We're back again.
This is a very weird commercial break, I mean,
yeah, it absolutely is. I do want to wish the best to each and every person who may be hearing this, who was in any point of the path or in the surrounding area of Hurricane Ian. It has caused a lot of destruction, loss of power, a lot of people having to go through shit, as happens whenever any major storm comes through this area. I wish you the best of luck. Getting back into the fun stuff, when we very, very suddenly ended last time, we were still in three groups between our party members.
I kind of like how we're going from, my sympathies to anyone who, has gone through tragedy. By the way, we're going to turn over to this person who just died.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Reiko is currently, she seemingly showed up on the River Styx, got to meet Charon, the ferryman, and when she discovered that she didn't have any money to give to him, he kind of pointed her to go somewhere else, and so she's making her way down an alternate path of some sort. Taninars and Jerome, who were trying to play matchmaker, seemingly completed their mission, although they don't really have time to check and see how that's going to turn out, because they've started hearing word going around that a student at the dig that they were messing with has gone missing. So they're going to go and take a look into that. And Danaman and Gideon are on their way to Central Dispatch in Limbo, to see if they can get a lead on some of these unsolved cases that they've had piling up.
Mm-hmm.
I suspect that the resolution of our matchmaking will be revealed in the post-credit scene, so I'm not too worried about it.
Okay.
There's somebody to job. You just go on Facebook.
That's right.
All right. So, last time my Wi-Fi router died literally in the middle of me talking to Word to explain what Reiko was getting up to. So we're going to just pick up right there.
Okay.
So, Reiko, you are heading down this tunnel in this bizarre cave system that you had found yourself in, where you found the seemingly underground River Styx. As you're making your way through this tunnel, give me a perception check.
Never mind that my passive is 15.
That's cool. Just want to see what it was. All right, so we'll go with just your 15. So I am going to say that you get kind of the feeling that this cave tunnel, I guess I should call it, seems like it should be easier. It's easier for you to navigate than it should be. And as in, like, the way that this is laid out, it sort of feels like, okay, this kind of feels like, a lost soul, wandering around near the River Styx. Probably shouldn't be like casually strolling around rocks and stuff the way that I am. You're having an easy time navigating it, basically. So this is
I'm just gonna throw out that at no point in any of this is Reiko considering herself a lost soul. She's more thinking of herself as a tourist in this moment.
Okay, but the lost souls that would be walking the same path that you're currently walking.
Yeah, that hasn't quite occurred yet.
Gotcha.
I like to think someone asking the question is like, "Are you lost?" No, I know exactly where I am. Someplace fun.
I'm having a good time.
Word, you and I had discussed that there were going to be certain things you were not going to have access to because you were going to start this campaign as a regular-ass human. We're going to consider your Devil's Sight feat to be fully unlocked at this point. So,
all right.
So if that's something that you want to try and rely upon, yes, go right ahead and bring it up to me.
So, yeah, Reiko probably still has like the vestige of the headlamp that she was using earlier, and is going to have a notion, and will turn it off.
Okay, yeah, you turn it off, and instead of being blanketed in darkness, you find that you can see things really easily, and you don't think that it's a matter of like there's natural light down here or anything like that, because you can't see any natural points of light or anything. There's the bizarre light of the waters of the river well behind you, but when you're going down a tunnel, that kind of stuff very quickly fades. But you can see your way through this tunnel very easily, almost as if it's just like kind of a dim room with like a room that's like got the blinds drawn, but it's bright daylight outside.
Ooh, I can see in the dark. This is awesome.
Everyone can see in the dark. What do you mean you can't see? You can see in the dark. It's nothing special. There's a guy who is literally just darkness.
There's a bunch of people down here who can see and don't have eyes, so yeah. All right.
This is new, so.
However, you're making your way through this tunnel that should be dark, but doesn't seem dark to you. But
Yeah, so save the battery. Why not?
yeah. In a way that seems strangely both sudden and gradual, the rocky tunnel gives way to a hallway. You don't really notice it's happening until like it's already happened, and then as you look behind you, you can kind of see the point. You can kind of see the point where it does kind of slowly fade in, but yeah, it's in that way that's like, oh, this happened so gradually I didn't notice, but also it seemed to happen very suddenly.
I didn't realize the afterlife was going to be an M.C. Escher painting.
And it feels like you're kind of the hallway that you're in seems like it might belong to like a medical center or an office building, one of those kinds of things. Very neutral colors on the walls, and you don't see like any doors on either side of you for a while, until the hallway reaches more of an atrium and opens up into what very much feels like a lobby of some sort. And so you reach this very definitely a lobby. There's like carpeting.
This carpet pattern is hideous.
It is definitely hideous. I'm not going to say that it's the same as this stock image that I found, but the carpet pattern is definitely hideous because of course it is. And as you walk into this place, the very what's the adjective I'm looking for? You hear the soft, comforting sounds of waiting room music.
I would hardly call that comforting, but okay.
And even though it's like
that is both infuriating and offensive in that it's desperately trying not to be offensive.
Even though it's like waiting room music, you very distinctly hear when the cowbell comes in too. Like it's
Okay, hang on. No. Yep, I'm definitely dead because Muzak is too.
Oh no, it's not. Oh, honey.
Yep. So there's a few counters. There's a few counters in front of you. There's a few chairs in front of them. A general seating area with cushioned chairs and stuff. It's currently empty of people, I should say.
Right. So Reiko will head over to the counter and just kind of like ring a bell if there is one. Otherwise, we'll just kind of knock on the counter and stand there.
Yeah, so you knock on the counter. I'm going to say that they probably had a bell at some point, but they got sick of it. So
fair.
You knock on the counter. As you are standing at the counter, you see a little plaque on the front that just says, "Hello there. Stay calm. Everything's going to be okay.
Hey, calm. How can I contain my excitement?
Yeah.
I see
Uh,
that reference, Nick.
After a couple of minutes, you hear footsteps approaching, and you see a tall, kind of skinny, white-haired man approach. He's wearing a nice blue suit with a colorful bow tie, and he sees you and smiles immediately and comes over to you. He's standing on the other side of this counter.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hello! It's nice to see you. We've been waiting for you.
Well, I am very happy to be here. So it's great to hear that someone's expecting me.
Oh, well, we in a way we're kind of expecting everyone. But
I was getting that impression.
oh, good. You know where you are. Excellent. That saves a lot of the trouble of this whole thing.
Yeah, I
My
met
name-
Sharon. I met Sharon. Thought it was a cosplay at first. Looks good. Looks real good either way.
Really? Huh, that's a little bit unusual. Usually it's one or the other. People either come here or they go... Never mind. My name is Michael. It's nice to see you. I'm going to put it to you, Word.
So
Is Reiko a fan of sitcoms that are actually secretly meditations on the human soul and the afterlife?
she's probably caught a couple, but she's a little too interested in like the occult and macabre to have really settled into that yet. If she had had another 10 years, she probably would have picked up on that kind of thing a little
Okay.
more intensely. For the moment, by her own perception, Reiko is going to basically say, 自分はよろしいだろうか? Yoroshiku? But it becomes clear to her that that's not how it's being received, is it?
No. Although the man Michael gives a smile and he bows politely, and he does say in a way that you distinctly recognize is kind of being carried across to you the same way that was carried across to him. Irashaimase, Reiko-san. As I said, my name is Michael, and welcome to Limbo. Yes, you are dead, but that's okay. We are going to make sure.
Oh, that's
that
totally
you get-
fine. This has been like my life's work.
Well, I guess it. It is for most people, but I get the impression you mean something a little bit different.
Oh yes, I study it intensely.
Ah. So did you know about this stuff, or I'm just curious? Most people aren't really expecting, to see
Well,
to see Ted Danson greeting them and stuff. I'm not him. I'm not him, by the way. My name is Michael. Funnily enough, but I'm not that Michael. I just. It's people have decided that it was kind of a comforting.
Oh, I think
concept.
I heard. I think I've heard of the show that you're referring to.
Oh, okay. You're not really a big. There's this show in the United States that got kind of popular a few years ago, and we kind of just decided, you know what, that'd probably be kind of comforting for some people to have a familiar face, especially Ted Danson's face. Greeting people. That they seem to be very receptive to that in general.
Oh, who wouldn't be?
I like to think that the show they're referencing is actually just Cheers.
It's Sam Malone.
Of course, everyone knows your name here, Reiko.
Well, it's better Ted Danson than Kelsey Grammer.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, it can be Frasier, but it can't be Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I'm just going to throw out that this is not the first time, like even before I heard about the show that you're referencing very expressly here, of God being played by Ted Danson and the devil being played by Kelsey Grammer. That is not a new joke to me.
Oh well. Anyways, I was just like, I'm not going to say anything more about
Ooh,
that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah.
What are you
So-
talking about? God is George Burns.
And the devil.
Yeah.
What about Bob? Anyway,
Yeah.
Michael kind of waves you over to around the side of the counter, and he says, "Well, this is just kind of like the central greeting area for most people that need to come here. I'll kind of explain as we go." And he pushes open a door that's around the other side of the counter and leads you through it. And immediately through it, you see this much larger, louder room. It's not like overwhelming. It's not deafening or anything, but whereas within this waiting area, there was just the two of you talking and the music playing. Now there are, there are these, like polite, volumed conversations happening at all of these different desks, just rows upon rows of them. There are seemingly dozens of them in this large room. Each of them has someone who is dressed very nicely, has like a warm smile on their face. And on the
don't
other
panic.
side, right, on the other side of it, there is someone who is in all different states of dress, has seemingly come from all sorts of different places, and are expressing different levels of fear and confusion. Some of them are not quite where you're at in terms of, oh, this is going to be fun, but are at the very least somewhat at peace, and some of them are apoplectic. They're protesting like, I shouldn't be here, all this kind of stuff as you pass by them. And
I imagine there's at least one or two that are absolutely losing their shit.
Oh yeah, there are. You do hear. I do say that like most of them are like speaking at polite volumes and stuff. You do hear like as you're kind of going down, you hear one person start to scream like, "This is crazy! What am I? Are you serious with it?" And then suddenly they go quiet. You look over and can tell that they're like clearly screaming, but that some sort of effect has been put in place so that doesn't disturb everyone else.
I wish I could do that.
Yeah, it's handy.
I gotta figure that out. How do you do that?
Oh, I'm not really sure. You'd have to talk to our engineers about that. That's not really my. I just hit the button whenever I need to,
Gotcha.
Here we are. And Michael takes you to a desk that's got, a little plaque with his name on it. It's got all sorts of little knickknacks, stress toys. There's kind of like a little stuffed animal as well. A lot of things that are kind of placed.
What animal?
A gecko, orange with black spots.
Good
That's a
choice.
curious choice.
Hey, you're the one who wanted the detail, dude.
Oh sure, but like if I'm going through this, I'm taking notes about all of it.
All right, so the point is that the clear stress relief items are placed for the person who is sitting opposite of Michael, basically.
Right? Yeah. I had that impression.
Michael sits down into a rolling chair. He folds his hands in front of himself on top of the desk, and then he gestures towards the seat opposite. So, please.
Reiko will effect a polite bow, as is proper, and will have a seat.
Michael reaches over towards a drawer in his desk, and as he does so, he says, "So you say that you met Sharon before you came here?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cave fell on me, and well, apparently the River Styx is in a cave in Poland.
Huh. Well, I mean, yes, it is. You'd be hard pressed to find places it's not. Is what I'm. But
all over.
okay.
Got it. Do you have a
Okay, so,
notepad that I can take notes with? I really want to chronicle this.
sure. I guess I do. That's not a lot of people ask for that, but okay. And
I'd use my computer, but I didn't bring it with me, and well, I didn't have it on me when I died, so I don't seem to have it.
That's going to be a problem. Yes, you might. I can't really. I probably can't get you the same type of computer, but you might be able to find something at some point while you're here. It'll depend on how long you're in town, of course. But anyway, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. Anyway, and he gives you a notepad and a pen, and then goes diving into this drawer while occasionally looking over his shoulder to look at you and to make eye contact while speaking to you as he.
Reiko is furiously writing down everything that has happened so far, everything that she has seen so far, what the experience that she perceived in like all the order of events, starting from finding that strange tunnel that apparently everyone else missed. And is just like compiling basically like a chronicle in record speed on a notepad.
So, Reiko, I'm sorry. How do you prefer to be addressed?
Oh, that's fine. I'm not super formal.
Okay. Reiko, so you mentioned before that you've done a lot of research on this topic, so I'm sure you've heard a lot of the different tales that have to do with the afterlife, with the underworld, that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
So tell me, do you like what kind of theories do you have, or what kind of theories have you heard?
Well, there's a lot of things that involve, an afterlife, as you mentioned, and hey, here we are. I'm going to guess that, atheists either don't get this or are immensely disappointed or perhaps relieved. Who can say? Probably individual. But regardless, there's a lot of rituals and whatnot, and it all kind of changes over time. Like you have like the things that like the Aztecs believed, the things that the Mayans believed. You have things that, people indigenous to the territories of North America. There's a whole thing about China and how it has like 1,000 hells or something like that. Who can keep count of all of them, really? And I feel like there's probably a nugget of truth in each of them, but figuring that out is part of the puzzle in some bigger thing.
Well, okay then. This will be easier to explain than it would be for a lot of people. You see, all those different things you mentioned, it's not really a matter of having to figure out the puzzle in terms of what parts are accurate and what parts aren't and how they all fit together. So much as how all the holes fit together. Because all of those are correct, those all exist. The 1,000 hells, the void for atheists that you mentioned, that's there too. Heaven, hell, Valhalla, the Summerland, all of those are there. But the problem is that when people like yourself, Reiko, hear all these different theories, sometimes people either don't know where they're going because they hear so many different theories, or they tell themselves, okay, well, I need to do this thing in order to get to here, in order to achieve reincarnation or whatever. And they tell themselves like, oh, I'm doing this, but somewhere deep in their subconscious, they know that they aren't really doing those things. And so they need to set things right in some way. And sometimes it's kind of hard to figure those things out. You see, the truth is that there is only one constant for all people, which is that at some point they do come here to Limbo, which is the place between the physical world, the living world as you might know it, where you just came from, and whatever life beyond exists.
even if that life beyond is not in the afterlife, it's reincarnating into a new form, or it's just vanishing altogether. And so how do you figure out where someone belongs if they're not certain of that? Well, they have to come through here, and sometimes they just kind of briefly pass through Limbo, and they don't even realize that they've even been here. They might kind of start off the way that you did, where they show up on the banks of the river Styx, and then Charon just takes them down to Tartarus or hell or wherever they're supposed to go. They might show up if they're Christian at the pearly gates, and not me, Michael, but Michael. That's the
The other Michael.
Other Michael.
There's so many Michaels. Who can keep track of them all?
Great guy, by the way. Great guy. Not as handsome as me, but great guy.
He might be his name is actual Michael Mark II, but that gets a little confusing.
Not as humble either, I bet.
Oh no. I'm just saying. I don't call myself saint. So, he's a great guy. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But in certain cases, people have a bit more complications. Sometimes they wander around Limbo by themselves. Sometimes they, like in your case, you showed up at the shores of the River Styx, and Charon can't take them, but they've got to make their way across somehow. Or sometimes, like with you, they get redirected to us because they need to consult with someone who knows their way around here and knows a bit more how things work in order to figure out where you need to be going and how to get there.
And he finally stops leafing through the drawer, and he pulls out this big folder. And you know for a fact that if all the folders in that drawer are this size, then there can't be more than like 5 or 6 of them. But he was leafing through files for a while, so that can't be the case.
Is there kind of a hammer space going on in that drawer?
Hammer space. That's like in the anime where they take out the big hammer and yes, it's exactly like that. Yes.
That is so cool. I want one of these desks.
That actually can probably be arranged. These are actually a lot easier to get a hold of than just computers. We've got so many desks.
That's excellent.
He thumps the folder in front of you, and it has Yamashita Reiko in it, in kanji with like hiragana pronunciation under it, and then just in bold English American letters, YAMA, spelling out your name that way as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm glad they at least have the consideration of furigana on these things. They don't do that nearly enough.
Technically, we don't actually need that. It gets confusing. There are thousands of languages that you humans speak, and there's maybe like 4 or 5 that get spoken in the afterlife, and we just kind of run all the others that come from the physical world through Universal Translator. It's just easier that way,
So Reiko is going to kind of take that information, that line that was just delivered to her, kind of like bring her hand to her mouth and kind of think a moment. You humans.
Oh, yes. Sorry. This isn't my real form. I should be so blessed. Have you seen these dimples? But no, this is just a form that I take because, generally speaking, most people are comforted by the familiar. You'll see some entities, I guess. Technically, not people. Well, people, but not people. Here we are. We're talking about. I ran
into Sharon. I'm amazed I haven't seen like death from Pratchett's works.
But you might. Technically, well.
Is that in your job description, or is that someone else's?
Oh no. That's I don't like to roll my sleeves up and get hands deep into things. I'm more of a delegator and a clerical kind of guy. I love my work. I'm not suited for that kind of thing. I leave that to
Yes, jockey, got it.
yeah. Well,
I,
a little bit more on the nose than I would have liked. But yes.
I work smart, not hard. You know, there's no point in wearing oneself out.
It would be kind of difficult to actually explain my true form to you. You might see it sometime, and then maybe you could come up with the words for it. But I can't really, put it into like a way that you can understand right now. I don't think. But you will definitely see some entities that are, like Sharon, that are very clearly not human. And in fact, some of the people that you see that way are more than likely will have previously been humans. Something that you'll actually kind of come to terms with, Reiko, is that you don't have a physical form right now. So technically speaking, you don't have to look the way that you've always looked. Now, if you are happy with the way that you look, that is perfectly fine.
I mean, like, I'm sure you can see me. I don't think I need to change anything.
Oh, well, okay. I think that answers a couple of things, the questions that I was going to ask you. I'll just mark some of those off. All right. Actually, speaking of which, I think that we should get down to business. I can tell you a few things that are introductory, but I'm afraid that there is a certain time limit that we have to conduct this interview. We're not tightly packed for time, but there will be people that are going to be coming to my desk after you, and we do kind of need to keep that line moving. To put it in more hard numbers, there are roughly 40,000 people who die every minute. I think that's the right statistic. I forget it. Hang on.
Whatever the statistic properly
Sorry.
is, Reiko will rattle it off.
That's actually 100. It's actually like 106. Why am I saying 40,000? I think it was 40,000
I was like,
a day. 40,000 a day, I think it is.
It's like, I didn't realize the plague was back. Damn.
40,000 a day is what it is. That's what I was saying.
Didn't realize the plague was back. We just had 2 years of
Yeah.
Okay, you know what I mean.
The Black Death one, yeah.
Yes, that one. The one actually called the plague, not the one that we facetiously called the plague.
That was it. So there's roughly 6,400 deaths every hour. And not all of those deaths need to come through here, but a percentage of them do. So we can't really spend more than about an hour here because I will need to see someone after this.
Right.
So I will gladly give you, kind of the basics on how things are going to work around here. But if you end up having some really in-depth questions, and I can see that you probably will, about how things are going to work, then you'll need to probably get some more of that information later because I need to conduct our this kind of survey to start with. So, Reiko, let me ask you. You had all these theories you said about life after death, and you imagined it as kind of like a puzzle. So, would you say that you had a solid idea of what the afterlife for you was supposed to be? And he now has a pen in his hand, and he's got his own notepad.
Solid, I do not say I do. I had a lot of ideas of how it potentially could go, but I was actually in the educational path I was in to help facilitate finding those answers, and then I died along the way because of a stupid cave-in. Damn it, Mom.
And would you say that there's anything that you've done that you regret or that you feel guilty about?
Not really.
Make an insight check for me, please.
Okay. Passes 15.
Okay. You get the impression as he's kind of conducting this interview with you, and he goes over, a lot of the big questions, like, religion, regrets and those kind of things, that he's not actually looking for information from you.
Right. He's trying
He
to get a
is-
read on what I think.
Exactly.
Right.
So he kind of knows a bunch of the stuff he's asking you, but he wants your take on it.
Right, exactly. So yeah, Reiko will rattle off like, no, I don't really have any regrets. I didn't really have enough time to form any regrets, I don't really think. I was pursuing exactly what I wanted to pursue. I had a girlfriend that I was very fond of and was fond of me in turn. I had a good friend. My parents didn't really think too much of my pursuits. They were not hardcore, but pretty devout Buddhists, and they thought that it was a phase I was going to grow out of, and then I didn't, and they didn't think too much of that. But by that point, I was in a dorm room, so I didn't care, and it wasn't really a problem. So, outside of that, we got along fine.
Okay. Word. I'm going to ask you straight up. Is Reiko being like fully honest on all the comments that she's giving?
Yes.
Okay.
Like, she has no reason to lie, and she's not inclined to do so anyway.
Got it. Okay.
She will wrap it up with, I imagine you probably have all of this in your file over there, and you're just trying to get a read on what I think.
He smiles at you. And he says, well, let me just put it this way, Reiko. It's not really necessarily... Sorry. I know you've got a very curious and exploring mind, but for the point of the process that we're at right now, it's not really important that you know how this works. If, after we've kind of figured things out, it seems safe to give you that information, I'll be more than happy to.
Mm-hmm. Need to know basis. Got it.
All right. At this point, I think we're going to cut away from that because we've been having Reiko's sit down adventure here for a little bit.
I've been waiting for a week for this.
I understand. I've been waiting for a while too, but
So cold about your girlfriend.
What?
That's good. That like listen, we're gonna have some words when we see that come across there. So
Shut up! It's a plot arc later on.
I'll frame comment further.
Michael continues to take some notes while he talks with you about stuff. I'm sure that at certain points, certain things come up that have Reiko taking notes too.
Absolutely.
We're going to leave them there for a bit, and we're going to go back to where Reiko came from. Jerome and Tanninars, you guys were starting to hear a bit of the hubbub occurring at this dig, at this camp. And you guys had decided to at least see how things were going on your way out. You've already left the quote unquote betrothal notes for the proposal between Roke and Hannah for Hannah to find. You've planted the evidence, so to speak, and now you are outside as both I'm gonna get their names, Christina and Camille. Yeah, they are kind of like rushing around outside. So you see the two of them running around. They end up heading back towards the cave that they were digging in. And hang on a sec. Let me just do this. Let me get a... Okay. The first person that they run into as they're running around is actually Roch, who is, kind of comes out of the area where he was with his group during this. And he sees the two of them running around in a panic, and comes over and asks them what's going on. And you see that there is this kind of like excited and kind of nervous explanation of what's occurring.
Hmm.
Uh,
It appears that our mark is still out and about over here, but it does seem that there's a bit of a dire situation, Jerome.
Normally, this wouldn't be our responsibility, but we're already here. There's no reason not to check in.
if you guys can also make perception checks for me.
All right. Okay, perception.
I can roll perception.
20.
I don't know if I can make perception.
Okay. All right. 10, you see as this is all going on, you're kind of like looking around and taking in the scene, and you see Professor Mali, who is in one of the other caves. This is the annoyed, the kind of like constantly annoyed teacher who didn't like it when things were getting interrupted before.
Mhm.
He, when you first see him, is kind of like pacing around at the entrance of another cave, like just inside the shadows. He's got his hands on his hips. Make an insight check. You
got
just
it.
you.
18.
18. All right. He, let's see, how do I describe this?
He looks like a murderer. No, just kidding.
Yeah, no. He looks kind of he looks like he knows something is wrong already. Basically. He's like he's clearly like kind of nervously pacing around. And when he looks around and he sees that there is, a conversation going on outside between Roque and the two students that were part of his group, he quickly springs into action and hustles over towards them. And you can start to hear like chatter in like several different languages going on, because people are kind of like just like, oh shit, what's going on, kind of thing. You guys can understand all of it, but it's clear that like there's a little bit of a panic kind of setting in, because as you suss out, someone has gone missing straight up, and given that they were exploring around in these caves, there's this worry that someone has gone missing within the caves themselves.
There's just sort of a thought, and then Tan will just remark to Jerome. I don't think we'd be able to confirm anything for them. That would be a bit probably out of our lane, but we might as well check in the caves and then head on back.
I agree. It's not like they called the authorities yet or anything. There'll probably be a massive dig here. He just kind of like starts. However, like owls walk. It's like a weird hop or whatever. I don't know.
A waddle. All right, so you want to go and check out the caves? Which one are you looking into?
Well, I'm guessing the one that they seem to be like heading towards or into, I believe, was kind of the energy that I was thinking.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
The once a word gets around that someone has gone missing, you hear. I believe you had already heard the name Reiko thrown around a couple of times, and you start to hear it more and more as people are checking in on stuff. Hannah's group hears what's going on, and they come out, and word gets exchanged among everyone. There's this kind of like accusatory stuff that gets thrown around towards Christina and Camille, because they were supposed to be with Reiko at the time. But eventually they kind of like start heading back towards the cave that Professor Mali came out of. And like a bunch of people are just kind of like start to look around within that, start to a few Rocha and Hannah in particular start to kind of delve a little bit deeper into it than people had previously been going into. You guys, if you want to follow into it, can see what you can find.
Seems like
Yeah,
as good of
sounds
an
pretty
option
dope.
as any. Yeah.
All right. Make some sort of observational check for me. Whichever
Alright.
whichever one you think would be best for you.
So like investigation would be an option.
Investigation is an option. Perception is an option. Pretty much, yes.
Let's 11 for investigation.
Well,
Okay.
for investigation?
Oh, you don't have a lot of luck, guys. I mean, there's a bunch of people kind of like, moving around. Even though you guys, can't be seen, you have to make sure that, you're not drawing attention to yourselves. And that's kind of distracting you from really getting your hands deep into this stuff. So you're not really able to give a very thorough search of the place while everyone's kind of hustling around inside of it.
Mhm.
So, Jerome has an idea.
Okay.
He's like, I know of a way to get them out of here very quickly. Don't worry, they should be fine.
Oh dear.
Okay.
He's going to cast Fog Cloud and make it like a yellowish kind of cloud, like at the edge of the cave. So they think it's like a gas leak or something.
Well, okay then.
Jerome's he's just Jeroming all over this place, So, anyways, I started blasting.
All right. Just make a stealth check for me, just because just to make it not obvious that like there is some sort of chanting going on that summons this cloud. Okay. That's not super obvious. So I'll give that to you. Yeah. Fucking yellow fog starts emanating from deep in the cave, and a freaking scream goes up, and you hear this warning shouted by Hannah of like, everyone out now, out. And everyone flees this cave because they think that some sort of noxious gas is emanating from inside of it. The search stops immediately, and Professor Malik gets on his phone and starts calling the police because it seems as though there is some sort of gas line of some sort that may have been disrupted by the dig, and so they need professionals to explore it if there is going to be any hope of finding Reiko. You guys who don't have to worry about the poison can do whatever you want.
Poison, it's just fog.
What
kind of fog comes out of? What kind of yellow fog comes out of a cave? You tell me that.
Yeah, listen. Like, it's first and foremost, we're not even like there was no advertisement for a cave rave, so no one's expecting this. And there's no bass drops, so people are just assuming it's something nefarious.
So like, and Jerome, because this is, he can control this. He makes sure it leads them, goes all the way out to the entrance of the cave, so nobody decides to come in, and they have time to do everything without being obscured by the fog.
How does it last?
1 hour for up to 1 hour by concentration.
For fuck's sake!
We got all the time we need.
Okay. I'm not saying you're wrong. I promise. All right, so if you guys want to have a more thorough look at this place, you guys, I guess, you guys could take your time on it this time, since no one's going to come into this place while there's a fucking yellow fog whirling around the mouth of this cave. You guys can re-roll investigation checks with advantage if you want to.
That's an 18 for Tan.
It's a 15.
All right. You guys find what seems to be you're kind of like poking around the walls of this place, and as you do, you see that well, obviously it's like it's the walls of rock, so it's not like
it's super smooth, and there's like neat contours or anything. But you are able to determine that there is what's clearly like a pile of rocks that is against one of the walls that is about like waist high. And this is like rubble as opposed to everything else is more uniform. And that is what you see from there.
So Drum's just looking at it, and he looks over the tent, like, well, this looks a little, maybe like a cave-in or something happened here. We'd have to move this if we wanted to investigate further, but that might be a little much, all things considered.
I mean, couldn't you just poke your head through the pile to see what's underneath?
Yeah, Jerome, you're a poltergeist. You can do that.
Okay.
That
Well,
also
let's-
would be a little bit less obvious. I mean, if we wanted to leave something on the pile to indicate that there's somebody underneath to aid in their search, that's one thing. But I don't think we need to do excavation on their part. That might actually look more suspicious.
And Jerome's like, he nods and he kind of like holds his breath for a moment and he sticks his head in there. Even though he doesn't actually need to hold his breath, the actual act of doing it helps him like concentrate to do this.
Okay, so you literally poke your head through this pile of rocks, and you have just enough space that you can actually like keep your body on the one side while sticking your head through it and have it come out the other side. And you see a kind of narrow room through the side through this pile of rubble, and it's you have dark vision because you are an owlin, so you can see this clearly. There, you see this kind of mural of cave paintings within this room, and it's the same one that I described for Reiko earlier. It's there's all these different creatures that are portrayed, creatures that have that are very clearly not of the earthly realm. Animals that have different heads than they should, like a griffin that's got like a human head, a black figure that has a white face with black eyes in it. Make a just. And I'll give this to you as history. I think that makes sense for you.
History. All right, let's roll history. 20.
20 is good. Okay. You understand from your just general background and also, being a learned kind of person and a learned person who has been in the afterlife for a while, that in some cases, people in the physical world are able to catch glimpses of beings from the afterlife, from Limbo, as they traverse back into the physical world. And you recognize that the creatures that you see on the wall are representations of spirits or ghosts or visitors like yourself and Tan coming back from the other side. The one that really tips it off for you is the black figure with a white face, which looks very much like a figure that has a skull face. And when you put that together with the image of people kind of gather around what at first looks like a yellow tree, you realize that this is a representation of, this is also kind of a set of instructions or a representation of what was done in order for the people to see these creatures.
Now, would this be something that Jerome recognizes as something he probably shouldn't leave here?
It's cave paintings. So it's they've been here for a long ass time. It is up to you if you want to leave them here or not. No one probably currently knows that they are here. So as far as you and your position are concerned, it falls within your purview to do with this as you want. You can decide that, like, okay, this is fine and leave it here. You can decide this is dangerous to leave here and get rid of it. Whatever you want to do.
All right.
That is how you that is basically me clarifying because of the instructions I gave you last time of like there are certain things you can do to interfere in the physical world and certain things that you cannot. It really just depends on would someone notice an existence from the afterlife coming and interfering with it. You could steal, you could steal like 10,000 pounds of gold if nobody knew it was there and it would be fine. But if you moved something that was very important to someone, even if it had no value and they realized that someone had come in and moved it, then that would be more dangerous.
Yeah, like Jerome pops his head out. He's like, we may have potential breach of the veil to Tan. I'm not sure how to proceed.
You say that it's a potential breach, but unless we have evidence, I'm not sure what we should do further with this space then. At the very least, I suspect there'll be others on the other side who will wish to know about this, and maybe more appropriate procedure can be applied.
True. We've already lingered enough here. We should probably head our way out.
All right. So you just
And you did not mention was Reiko's body in there, or did we see any?
you did not see any body or anything along those lines.
Let's see, okay, that also we need to include that. It's like I didn't see any body in there, so if this missing Reiko was in there, they're either further in or they're not here.
All right.
Understood. I don't know if we're going to get much more information here, and you might be able to. That being said, I think we know who this Reiko looks like. I suppose if we went to the other side, we might be able to find them there, which would answer a question for us.
It is true. We could just go through the front door instead of the other way. Well then, I don't believe we have anything else left here to do. Shall we?
We shall.
As they go through the gas, Jerome, fizzles it out quietly.
Okay.
Fog, not the gas. It looks like chlorine gas, but it's not actually chlorine gas. There's going to be a lot of questions there.
Yeah.
It's a mustard colored gas, but it's not chlorine gas. It's not dangerous. I swear. It's actually full of microplastics.
Oh, that's so much better.
It's just it's a mustard gas in that it's literally just mustard and not like.
How does that work? I mean, that would still be unpleasant to breathe.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, everything tastes like mustard. What?
Not even that. Mustard is acidic.
Yeah.
In my eyes.
Very, very mildly acidic, but it's acidic.
All right. So you guys start to settle on that. You start to make your way back to the crossroads and back into Limbo, where we're going to go again. Danamin and Gideon, you guys head to Central.
Okay.
And
You said that you were the first person you were going to check with. Was
I
gonna
thought
be
Robert would be a great first person to visit. Yes.
Yeah, you kind of do the thing. I imagine it. I mean, I'm sure this is not how it's actually going, but I kind of imagine like Gideon like kind of like casually like dragging Daneman behind him almost. But I know that's probably not literally what's happening. But excuse me.
We're just going to talk to him about the case. It doesn't have to do anything with your potential meeting with him at all. I promise you.
I'll wait outside.
But you'll need to hear what he has to say also. And it's so much more.
On the other
It's so much.
side of Limbo.
No. Come along.
No.
I don't understand what your problem with Robert is, Dan.
I don't have a problem with Robert.
Then why are you avoiding him?
Because I don't have a problem with Robert.
That doesn't follow.
Quid pro quo, like I'm trying to think of shoot. Hey, what's going on?
QED.
QED. That's right. Yeah.
Quo era demonstratum.
Yeah.
So you are avoiding him because you don't have a problem with him.
Yes.
So you avoid people you don't have a problem with.
That only on occasion.
What a
See, if I go there, then there will be a problem with them.
I see. What would that problem be then?
So in that, like, not going there, we're avoiding the problem.
I see. And so what would that problem be?
So anyway, we should go to talk to Michael.
But I'm very, very I'm fascinated in what your problem with Robert could possibly be. Potentially.
Holy shit, look at this file.
Yes. It's
sitting here on a desk.
You just go straight to Michael's desk. I mean, you can do that. It's fine.
Oh, look, we've seen. Is that central booking over there, Dan? We've come pretty far quickly, haven't we?
Yeah.
Shall we head and talk to Robert?
Yeah, we're going to go talk to Michael. We're going to talk to Michael.
Michael.
I don't mind this banter. I just actually want to know where you're actually going.
At this point, I'm not sure.
Daneman might be a little bit too good at double talk.
All right, so I know, actually, legitimate question, Nick.
Yes.
For the situation we're having, which of the two of them would be more directly useful?
For the situation that you're having.
Yes.
Okay. I will explain to you the difference between what they do.
Okay, that will help.
Michael is essentially a less. Robert has a more specified position in terms of what he does. He is he is a way of describing is like he's more like a psychiatrist.
Okay.
He has a set of he's also been described as a parole officer, and that's not inaccurate.
Right.
He has a set of people that he checks in with that he has in-depth knowledge of their situations and keeps tabs on them to make sure that if they are being punished for something, then they're keeping up with it and they're making progress.
Okay.
If they're trying to accomplish something, like I never got to finish the novel I was writing or something like that, that they're working towards getting themselves that closure.
Okay.
And he keeps tabs on them in order to do that. Michael is at the level where he has access to a lot of general information about a lot of people. He doesn't know people's situations as in depth as Robert would, but he has access to basically everyone's files.
All right. Follow-up question: is Robert associated with the SNR files that we have in particular? Is he tied to these cases in any way, shape, or form?
He would not be, because those people are missing.
That answers my question. All right. That makes it a lot more clear.
He might, have souls not reaped means that they just means that the person was not
that
carried
clears that up.
from
All right.
world to limbo. So.
All right. So in that case, I will continue. We'll continue on and say, no, we're going to talk. We should absolutely talk to Robert. Oh, hi, Michael. How are you doing?
Oh, Gideon, it's lovely to see you.
Excellent.
Actually, well, Reiko, here you go. This is actually a great example of what I was talking about. This is Reaper Gideon.
Hi.
I will take my hat off and sort of sort of bows slightly.
Yeah, Reiko, you see a man in a trench coat who takes off his fedora and reveals that he does not have a human face. So,
Yeah, this is more what I was thinking of.
I see. I'm sorry, about a client of yours, Michael?
Yes, it's actually
I just got here.
honestly, it's I might be sending her along to you shortly.
Someone's not happy to see me.
No,
That's
it's
been
nothing.
happening a lot
Absolutely not. Absolutely nothing at all personal, ma'am.
This is prospective Reaper Daneman as well.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm having a great time.
Gideon
That's either
Gideon
some excellent
actively
sarcasm or good for you.
Gideon actively blinks, looks over. Huh. Not a phrase I
Yeah,
hear
you-
very often.
You think that, that's kind of the confusing part, is you think that someone with that kind of attitude, we wouldn't really need to have all the consultation and stuff, but,
Yeah, usually they just go where they're supposed to go.
yeah, that's kind of the thing. I've got a little a theory about it, but I'm not sure if it all lines up. Reiko, can you just explain again what you think the afterlife is like, or what you thought it was like before you got here, I should say.
It is a little different than what I was expecting. So I have made death my life's work and have tried to kind of crack the code and figure things out. I've looked at I've been looking at a bunch of stuff from ancient cultures to more modern ones, seeing what the differences are. How did they handle this? What did they believe? And I feel like there's a little bit of truth in all of it, or at least that's what I thought. Not so sure now. But, hey, I'm willing to adjust the theory. And there's got to be some kind of a greater whole that is the sum of all parts in some respect. You got to figure, but there's so many things that actually figuring out all of it takes a dedicated effort to do, and I don't think anyone has ever really done that before. So that was my goal. And then I died in a cave. Damn it.
So I've got two theories on how to interpret that. One is that maybe Reiko doesn't have a very solid idea of what the afterlife that she was intended for was supposed to be like, or it could be kind of she's not satisfied with the amount that she was able to find out in life, and so she'll be at peace when she just learns more about the afterlife, and then she'll be able to settle in. Everyone here, as I say this next part, can make an insight check.
right.
Daneman and Gideon, both of you can make this with advantage.
All right.
As he says, so I think that that those are probably the two primary areas to address for right now.
Oh, look at that.
20.
Okay.
Double twos. Just snake eyes. I rolled snake eyes on
you
D20s.
rolled snake eyes on D20s. That's amazing.
Well done.
I think I should get something awesome just for that.
Dentalion, Robert doesn't work on this floor. You know he doesn't work on this floor. You're still looking around over your shoulder, hoping you don't run into him. So you're not really paying attention to exactly what's going on in the subtext of what Michael says. Reiko, you get the impression with your 14 insight that it's probably not. Michael probably doesn't believe it's as clear cut as what he's saying. Like there's just a hint of like not being completely certain in it.
Right.
Gideon,
He's throwing these out, but he's not thinking much of them.
Whereas Gideon, you got a 20.
Yep.
You know that not only is that the case, you know that Michael has another theory that he's not mentioning specifically in front of Reiko. And he's got his notes and stuff. It'll be in her file.
All right.
And,
Well, Gideon definitely arches a non-existent eyebrow at that, but doesn't say anything.
Okay.
Huh. Well, yes. Both very interesting theories. I'm sure we'll have time to work through that at some point. Michael, we did actually have a question. We came down to talk to you about something actually. Since we're in a bit of a lull between things,
does this need to be a business private conversation?
Might be wise.
probably for the best. Honestly, probably for the best. But
All right. I'm just about to wrap up here with Reiko.
Maybe I can help.
Well, actually, given one of the leads that you might need to follow, that maybe, well, that's not really my decision to on that.
You did say that some people who work here used to be human or are human and continue to do things. Do I get a side?
Sorry, what was that?
she hasn't even get a scythe.
Oh, I didn't quite catch that for the first.
No.
Well,
well,
you know,
sorry, Michael. I
We
did not
get
interrupt.
scythes? I'm sorry, what?
I get a scythe.
I don't have a scythe.
No, you're not a reaper. Yet.
Not yet. Got it.
I can.
You have other
Sure,
things,
use a
Dan.
scythe. Yeah. Well,
for right now, no. Let's just put it that way.
Yes,
But
I
maybe.
did not mean to be quite that blunt. I apologize.
I didn't even know that was an option. So it's just like a thing that you had.
I manifest my scythe briefly.
Wang.
So cool.
I am a reaper.
I was
Yes,
just
you are.
like you had a hat. Like instead of a scythe, can I get a combine? A motorized combine? I want to drive that around instead.
You'll have to talk to the people
The
in
whole
charge.
harvesting thing. I understand. There's a harvesting metaphor going on here.
Yes,
Can you actually do that?
I have in the past. Yes.
No. I was asking Michael about can he actually get the combine?
As far as
Sorry?
combine harvester,
Oh. That's not really my realm of expertise. That's
I am not aware of any reaper that has one.
Sure, but
I imagine it'd be great
have
for
a bit
mass
more
grave.
of a modern industrialized view of things, and it's
I imagine
keeping
it'd
the whole keeping the whole metaphor.
Yeah, Gideon, the one person you think might have a combine harvester is capital D Death,
Yeah.
and you don't think that he would
No.
use it. So
It sounds like it'd be fantastic for a mass grave.
I suppose the boss might have one,
just like stored in the garage somewhere.
but I don't think he uses it. I don't think he's used it since the 1500s.
It's the thing, right? Yeah.
If it's a combine harvester, it was probably last used,
early, but he would have had it then. Maybe no, I think that wouldn't have existed in the early 1900s either.
Can I suggest maybe
Sorry,
during
I'm a
the
little distracted. As to whether you could help Yamashita-san, I don't know.
There's Reiko.
Yes, of course.
It's not entirely outside the realm of possibility. What aside from studying various forms of culturally significant
actually,
stuff. Yeah.
Gideon sort of looks looks up at the ceiling briefly. Huh. I confess that you might have let me discuss this with Michael first and get his thoughts. We'll come back to you. You might actually be might be of assistance now that I think of it, given what Michael has said.
Reagan returns to furious note taking.
All right. Michael gets up from his desk and says, "Oh, if you could just wait here for a minute." And,
This shouldn't take too long, Yamashita-san. We'll be right back.
You've got time. Scribble.
All right. So Michael walks off with you, Gideon. D'Italian, what are you doing?
I'll go with Michael and Gideon.
Okay.
Just because I'm my whole goal here was to get things to take as long as possible, so we forget about Raymond.
Right.
But yes. And not that Gideon was screwing you at all. Nope.
Dentalia, make a perception check for me.
Perceptron.
Oh no.
I just can't roll today. All right.
All right. Yeah. You don't see Robert anywhere. You're safe.
He's behind me, isn't he?
You don't see Robert anywhere. All right. So you guys go off and you guys go off with Michael to a more private area. He closes the door behind you. In honestly just like an office just for this kind of purpose when people need a little bit more privacy.
Right.
And so he says, "Oh, so what did you boys need some help with?"
Well, I'm not sure if you're aware, though I suspect you are, knowing you. There has been something of an increase alarming increase in the number of SNR files.
You know, it's funny you should mention that.
He has this big bulging folder with him, and he takes a stamp out of his pocket, and he turns it over, and he stamps Yamashita Reiko's file with SNR.
Huh. I see.
How does this keep happening?
Here's the thing
Yes.
that I thought was curious. When I was speaking with Reiko just now, she mentioned that her suspicion is that she was in a cave, rocks fell, she died.
Okay.
Happens.
Yes, that does.
Here, so she says that she showed up at the River Styx with Sharon. And
Huh.
he didn't take her across the river.
Well, did she have 2 drachma?
Yeah. Did she have the money?
She didn't think that she did. The curious thing is, usually when that happens, Sharon will tell people that they need to make their way across in some other way.
Right.
Instead, he directed her to us. Normally, people find their way to us directly. We're not their second stop.
Yeah, that's...
Nobody.
That is weird.
Wait,
Also-
Sharon directed her here.
Yes.
Oh, we should go talk to Sharon. See what he has to say.
Yeah. Well, what he has not to say.
Right.
He is not the most verbose of individuals.
You can get him talking at a good party.
That tells me that Reiko's soul was not taken from the world of the living
No.
into here. She just appeared here. Meaning, and he tapped the folder, her soul was not reaped.
No, it very clearly wasn't, actually.
Yeah, someone's dropping the ball with these.
But she's here right now. Which means, and he says, now it should be fine as long as she's actually within our office. But when she leaves, someone needs to make sure that she doesn't get out of sight. We've lost these people because we sent them with directions to find you guys, and then they disappear.
Right.
So it's good that you guys are here.
So I have a new assistant, don't I?
I didn't say that, but at the very least,
not de facto.
make sure that she's not out of your sight until you've gotten as much into her case as you can.
Right. Very well. And from what you were saying, what both you and she were saying, it sounds like she might have some insight into some things. More so than most human souls at this stage, anyways.
We've had a couple scholars and stuff. They usually don't end up in our.
They don't usually end up at our
office.
desks, though.
Yeah.
This is intriguing. I haven't had a chance to talk to a scholar on this sort of thing, and I don't know.
Now,
When was the when was that professor who came by last time? That was at least a century ago, wasn't it?
Oh, which one?
You know, the one with the
okay.
glasses and
The big mustache.
Sigmund?
Might have been. That name sounds familiar.
Charles.
Also possible.
There's a lot of professors with mustaches and glasses. You need to narrow it down for me.
that came to my. I have to go look at my files. I don't.
I think he was Caucasian.
Yeah. What kind of professor with a mustache and glasses isn't Caucasian?
Technically speaking, I suspect there are probably a few Chinese ones, actually.
Okay. You're right. Sorry. Making general statements.
Uh-huh.
What does Caucasian mean again?
They're
Well, technically speaking, someone from the Caucasus.
from the Caucasus Mountains.
Yeah.
Oh, there's probably not a lot of them then.
Honestly, I'd have to look at my files. It's been at least a century.
Look, I just put the skin on. I don't know the difference, okay?
I only know the definition of the words. Let's be real. Well,
I know all the
technically
ways to be
speaking,
polite.
Sorry, what was that?
I know all the ways to be polite. I know all the traditions and stuff like that, but
Mhm.
it just never sticks with me. Okay.
Anyways, but more importantly, though,
Reiko's case is the way that I told you before,
Yes.
but you'll also want to look into more basic things for her, I think. You know how it is.
Yeah, well, indeed. All right, well, if you stumble across anybody who might have any other information regarding what's happened with her, please send them along to me. I doubt there is anybody, but you know.
Okay, I got a question here
Yep.
for Skitch and Ash. You guys said that there might be information you wanted to pass on to. Who did you want to go see about it?
The person that the character know would probably know who to sign this information off onto. Jerome might know better than I. I have a feeling that of us, my character is probably, I wouldn't say less favorably viewed, but he is I would say he's more out of the circle of things than things.
Right. You're more of an outside consultant than Jerome is. Like both of you do have like exceptional positions, but Jerome is a bit more inside the circle, certainly.
Yeah, like Maurice is Jerome's kind of like informant / kind of like contact with them. But I think Jerome's probably had enough reason to come to Central to know somebody in Central.
Okay. Yeah, I think that does make sense for the reasons I explained to Peter and Eric earlier. This is definitely a good general information and for like first contact for something from the physical world. So if you want to just say that you're going there, that does make perfect sense to me.
Yeah, that's I think Jerome would be directing 10 Rs to Central as well. Yeah.
Okay.
10 Rs.
So you've got that. Let me see here. I'm trying to. Let me make sure. Oh. Michael, by the way, looks at Dentalion, and he says, "By the way, Dan, Robert was asking if Thursday would be a good time to meet with you. What do you think?"
I'll take it into consideration. I have some things I need to check up on first.
Okay, cool. He just like immediately like takes you at your word.
Just so you know,
I'll
if
let
you,
him
if
know.
you have to, if you do have a meeting, I can cover your desk spot for at least a couple hours.
Oh, don't worry about it. We can figure something out.
I know. I'm just letting you know. Always willing to help.
Yeah, so good at that.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Dentalion, make a deception check for me. Okay,
22.
sure. You got it. You got it, Dentalion. Good to hear it.
One thing I'm good at is lying, okay?
He does not press you on it at all. Okay. All right. So that information gets passed between the three of you.
Mm-hmm.
Now I think we will go to Tan and Ars and Jerome. Yeah, you guys get to Central. Do you just want to talk to like one of the general people in like one of the desks about this stuff?
I think that the appropriate thing would be for them to, just like talk to somebody first at one of the desks, be like, hey, we were just in Poland and there was some weird stuff going on. We wanted to do a check-in.
All right.
We forgot to bring pastries from Poland, unfortunately. So
Yeah, but what about the paprika chicken?
Okay. You go to one of the desks, and this this blonde woman looks at you and says, "Yeah, yeah, okay. I'm Eleanor. So what's going on?"
So Jerome kind of like prees his feathers for a bit. He's like, Eleanor, we were just handling a official duty over in Poland.
Poland.
Where, yes, there was a dig site. There was some sort of cave-in, and we believe there might be some cause for concern because at the cave-in site we noticed some very unusual cave paintings that relate to things mortals shouldn't know.
Like how to suck your own dick?
No, that's something every mortal should know.
Yeah.
I don't know why we keep it. I don't know why we keep it a secret, but
Actually, I think I asked that question once. Bob said it was because if they could do it, then no one would ever accomplish anything. And time is precious. Got to make the most of your mortal life. Can't just be Anyway, okay. Well, so it wasn't that. What was it? What was it?
From my understanding of the scene, it depicted a ritual on how to give mortals sight of death, the ability to see our agents in the world of the living.
Yeah. Okay.
Unfortunately, without any knowledge of who's already seen it, I couldn't just destroy it. That could cause some other kind of issues.
Got it. Yeah.
There also seemed to be a young woman missing in the area that may be related to that. Her name was Reiko?
Young woman named Reiko. Hang on a second. She goes digging through a filing drawer, and she says, "Okay, yeah, well, that kind of thing. We'll want someone to take a look into it. I'll get in touch with some of our agents who are some of our observation agents. See if anyone has seen that kind of stuff, and we'll see if we can just kind of quietly cut it off at the pass." So thanks for giving us that information. And Rico, Poland. Okay. Yeah, it looks like someone's got that file right now. So that's Michael. Michael's got that.
Michael. Of course it's Michael. Every most popular guy always has the best cases.
Yeah. He wasn't, I thought I lucked out with getting, the Eleanor, but everyone just remembers, it's like, Eleanor's great, she's the protagonist and stuff, but everyone remembers Michael because whatever. Okay, he's over there. His desk is over there.
Jerome is kind of like gives her a playful. He's like, "Thanks, Eleanor. I really appreciate it." And he pushes to Tan. Like, "All right, we need to head over there."
As you get to Michael's desk, you do not see Michael, but you do see, it's this girl that was in the group of students at the dig earlier.
Mm-hmm. Did we see
Okay,
her?
so I kind of want to say that as they approach, she just kind of turns around in the same manner that she did earlier, but this time she actually sees them.
Yeah, I think that I'm going to say that you rolled well enough in your perception before that you got the same sense of a presence that you're getting right now.
Right. So Reiko will turn around. Have we met? I think I've seen you before, or at least been near you.
No, we haven't.
Reiko, you definitely haven't met these guys before in a formal sense because one of them is a anthropomorphic owl, and one of them is this white-haired, shiny-eyed, pale person who speaks with an echo in his voice. So probably not.
I mean, the echo is cool. She's entirely unperturbed by what she's seeing, though.
I'll take it. You saw a guy with a skull for a face before, so
Yeah. And a living shadow.
Like she has an idea of what she's in for at this point, so it's just like, yeah, okay. I don't know. I felt like like before papers went in places.
Jerome kind of looks at Tan. It's like, you wouldn't happen to have been in Poland recently.
Yep. Cave in. I think. Probably cave in. Maybe it was that gas. I don't know.
At this point, Jerome's kind of smiling to himself. See, I told you the gas was a good idea.
You've been waiting on that one for a week, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, since you're here and you're not, well, suffering some sort of delusion, I think you understand what's going on. Yes.
Oh yeah, I am distinctly lacking in the corporeality in the moment, and for the foreseeable future.
Jerome's just like, I would give you my condolences, but you seem
Oh
to
no,
take
this is
very
great.
well.
This is great. I'm learning all kinds of new things that I wanted to learn. That's why I was at that site in the first place, so I could learn about death.
I will say that Tan does have a pretty. I mean, he's never like smiling most of the time, but he's definitely frowning at this.
Hmm.
Jerome does find it very amusing, but he's also got a bit of a sick sense of humor. Goes with the territory, I think. So Jerome goes up to Michael's desk, and he kind of, like leans up against it, like he's too short to like hop up on it, and, like sit on it, without looking really funny.
Oh, you waiting for Michael?
Yes, but
Oh,
I think we need to speak to you too.
Well, just so you know, Michael is the one who was talking to me. He's talking with one of the with a pair of Reapers right now, actually.
Air Reapers?
Gideon and Dantalion, I think their names were.
And this is where I need to remember. Does Jerome have passing familiarity with Gideon? I thought that was the case.
I was basically going to leave that up to you guys. It is definitely entirely possible because the Reapers are into investigating certain stuff, and they definitely would pass on certain cases to someone in your position who could do a more hands-on approach of like influencing things so the person could be arrested after they've done all the digging to find out what needs to be done for them.
Right.
Maybe there's not a lot of direct contact between you guys, but it is certainly within the realm possibility that you guys have met a few times over the years.
Gideon's been around a long time, so
Gideon's been around for way longer than you have been dead, Jerome. And he's also been dead. He's also been around way longer than Tan, rather, has been around. Tan, it's probably less likely, just because you're, again, more on the outskirts of things. Jerome, I'm going to basically just say, like, if you think it would be easier or if it would be better for you guys to have some history, that's fine. If you think it would be more interesting for you to not really be familiar with each other, go with that. Whatever you feel like would be most interesting.
I think the most interesting case here is that Jerome is probably familiar with Gideon's reputation,
Sure,
as a professional, like even if they haven't directly worked with each other.
sure.
Probably going to be a two-way street on that as well.
Sure.
So
Yeah,
Maybe-
Gideon's probably heard of Jerome.
Okay.
Maybe not so favorably.
Eh.
All right. Yeah. So okay. Well, I mean, do you guys want like everyone to come together, or is there something the three of you want to talk about first? Sorry.
Should we? Good.
No, you got it. You got it.
No, I was gonna ask you if you had something you wanted to say first.
No. No. Tan doesn't have anything to say specifically at the moment, unless he's specifically asked something at the moment.
Cool. So you're feeling a little bit perturbed by what Reiko has said. Jerome, you're kind of looking at the information. Okay. Michael comes back out after a bit, after having talked to Dantalion and Gideon about the situation, giving them some more need-to-know information, and heads back to his desk and sees even more people there than there were before.
Hi, I'm multiplying.
Yeah, that doesn't happen a lot down here. So, all right, Saint Jerome, nice to see you. And Michael looks at you, Tan, and kind of does that thing of like, he's trying to refresh. Tanner, was it? Sorry.
That is close enough. If it's just easy enough, you can just call me Tan, Michael.
Tan. Okay, great. Well, as you can see, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've only got the one chair here. What can I do for you?
At this point, Jerome kind of turns around and he faces Michael and says, we were directed here by the lovely Miss Eleanor in regards to some things that may be involved in, he points to Reiko, like her case.
Really? You don't say.
Yes, we were handling a job in Poland that was unrelated to the situation when we came upon what may have been her untimely demise, considering all things. But more importantly, we found
less than an hour ago.
She's really taking it well.
Oh yeah, you'll get used to that. Well, that might prove pretty useful to my friends here. I'm not sure if you've met Reaper Gideon. This is Saint Jerome. He is a professional poltergeist, does a lot of work for us in terms of getting things settled if people have, grudges, that kind of thing with people. This Tan, I haven't done a lot of work with him. He handles more kind of leaving positive memories in place for people. And this is Reaper Gideon. He's Reaper Gideon. This is his partner, Provisional Reaper Dantalion.
Hey guys.
And
where'd you get that mixer a couple weeks ago? No? All right.
Jerome's like, probably not mine.
I'm gonna get like he said, like, at a mixer.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
an office party. They do have them.
I'm just gonna roll a d20 to see what happens.
Okay. Fair. It's a very important roll.
Tan's like, yes.
No. Tan was doing something at the complex at the time.
Sure.
Commune.
All right.
That does sound a lot more like Tan, honestly, than going to
a bender.
I believe
you roll a 20 there. Tan's like, yes, that's where I got riggedy wrecked.
Yes, I remember you asked if someone could make a poem about your keg stand, but unfortunately, the prose just was not in the air that evening.
Oh, it's because no one there. Because there were no pros at pros. I'll see myself out.
There's no pros for pose, but it didn't really matter because there was no inspiration from the pose.
I suspect that I have. I believe Jerome and I have had passing acquaintance in the past.
Jerome extends his wing / claw to Gideon's like, I believe this is the first time we've met in person
directly,
as it is.
Yes, we've interacted directly. I believe my office has routed things over to you in the past, though. The name's familiar.
Yeah.
As is the position.
Yes, you have quite a reputation. I've found your note taking to be quite meticulous.
Why, thank you.
Just want to point out, Reiko, that now the Owl Man is shaking hands with the Skull Face Man, and this
He's
is
borderline like about to ask, "Can I stand up and join this? Because this is great."
you were digging through rocks about an hour ago.
Well,
Why am I
I mean, I
I
don't.
need to take a
She's not
selfie.
super familiar with like the protocol of where she is at the moment.
Right.
So
well, so it appears that Yamashita-san here had her case referred to Dentelian and myself. There's some, and you said you have some information that might have tied to her case. That is actually,
That would be useful.
well, potentially useful. I have a deep and abiding fear this might make things more complicated. I do not like complications.
oh, you're not gonna like me.
Oh no.
Like, Jerome is like, he's just like, he snaps his wing. Well, this is about to give me your bad day.
I think we're gonna get along.
So while we were at the site, I noticed a cave painting. Do you happen to notice that, Nico-san?
Oh yeah. She will pull out the paper, the reflection of the paper, because there's still a physical one, on her carcass. But the reflection of the paper, she will produce it, and it's fairly accurate, all things considered.
I was like, oh, this makes it a lot easier.
May I?
She'll hand it over.
Okay. I will take a very careful and extensive look at it.
Make a history check for me. You can make it with advantage, I'm going
Alright.
to say.
You were probably there.
Only an 11
But you might be in
Only
it.
because I rolled below average. That's fine.
I mean, Gideon, I will at least tell you this. I've described it before. You know for a fact that the dark figure with the skull face, that is definitely a Reaper of some sort. You're not sure necessarily which one it is,
that is-
because...
Well, there are a bunch of us. A
yeah,
bunch in air quotes, but yeah.
given the timing of it, it's probably... It might very well be you.
Yeah.
Just because there have been more Reapers as time has gone by, and
Right.
this is clearly a very old one. So there would have been fewer Reapers around at the time it was made.
Technically speaking, it could be the boss.
It could be. It very well could be.
Well, that's clearly a Reaper. And this is how old would you estimate this cave painting to have been, Yamashita-san?
Well, I am not even an undergraduate in terms of anthropology, and I did not get to refer this to any of my superiors, so I am not really of a particular professional grade to say, but it old.
Old. Fair enough. Well, I suppose technically speaking, it could be me even.
This is where like Jerome.
Though I've
kinda
not dressed
pops-
like that in centuries.
This is where Jerome kind of pops in. Well, like I do know from my studies that the earliest cave paintings are about 64,000 years old. So, anytime between then and now.
Yeah, just to narrow it down a little bit.
Well, that does technically speaking narrow it down.
I don't think it was that old. I'm not sure the cave was that old.
Yeah. Well,
There were pipes in there, so
It wasn't
Like-
actually. I wasn't saying it was pipes. Sorry, word. It was more like veins.
oh, okay.
The sound you heard was not literally pipes. It just sounded like pipes.
Oh, I see.
I'm sorry if that gave you the wrong perception of it.
Like it was gas under pressure being released.
Exactly, which
okay.
sounds like water rushing through pipes in a way. But
Okay. Yeah, I thought that like there was actual like pipe rupturage in there. All right.
as far as you know, there were no like man-made structures or anything within the walls of the cave, as far as you know.
Okay, that changes her perspective on things rather drastically.
Well, I will return the picture to Reiko. Interesting.
Reiko will show it to Saint Jerome again, since
Yeah.
he and Han
Hmm.
had seen it.
So, from my historical backing, I believe this to be some sort of ancient rites in order to give the living the sight of death, the ability to see our ancients on Earth.
Sight of death. Hmm.
You know, when I was walking here, I turned on my light and I could still see. Would that be the same thing?
Well, no, you're dead.
Okay.
At least it'd be difficult if you were not unable to see where you're traveling. Sorry, go
The
ahead.
sight of death would be more akin to being able to see us in the world of the living when we are out doing work, which would be
An issue.
best way to describe it would be not very good if that was the case.
I mean, to be fair, people do see you guys all the time, but it's just that not everyone sees you. I mean, Reiko, how do you think that people have, an idea of what the Grim Reaper is? It's because sometimes a Reaper gets spotted by someone who is just able to see them. And sometimes that has to do with people who are, just kind of like yourself, who have an open mind about the existence of an afterlife in the underworld and are just, looking for those things. If you're looking for something actively, you have a better chance of seeing it. The problem is that you don't want to have billions of people all seeing Reapers going around collecting human souls. It would completely overturn the way that the living world operates.
Oh, of course.
Yep.
Incidentally, I think that does mean I did see you. Or at least I looked at you two earlier.
And some people do have a knack for seeing things that are actually there. It's kind of impressive. It's rare, though.
It's amazing what you can do with the right ritual.
Well, yes.
Reiko, did you happen to remember anything else about this untimely event of yours?
She's going to produce the at this point, like she's basically like gone through multiple notebooks and filled them out at this point of recounting like the whole thing, the whole experience. It's like, okay, the start of it is here.
Okay, so you go over like, okay, so I went into I went on this archaeology trip. I went into this cave. I was by myself. Went into this room. Saw all this stuff.
Yep.
Gas blew up into my face. Went through. Rocks fell.
Rocks
Yeah.
fell, tripped, swore a lot, screamed, ran through another door. There was purple water. Hey, Sharon.
Okay. All right, you guys all hear this out. What would be the thing for the role to give you guys to get some information out of this? It's kind of investigation, I guess.
All
I
right.
was thinking,
Yeah, that's probably what I'd go with.
All right.
Or deception. I can roll deception again. I'm good at that.
Yeah, you just fool the answer out of someone. Okay.
Yeah.
Arcana could be an option, maybe.
This is going to be a really difficult check because
Okay.
you're basing it off of someone's explanation of
Right.
events
All
rather
right, so
than.
Nick, just as a reminder, I do have the observant feat, so I do have a passive investigation of 19. Just so you know,
Okay.
that may not be applicable for this. I'm just letting you know.
Okay.
I forgot that
before
last time.
before this happens. I'm going to invoke bardic inspiration on Jerome.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh, thank
so
you.
if Jerome, needs it, they can roll a d6 to add to this. So.
So let's see what we get.
why rot? Should I roll at all?
No, because you're the one providing the explanation.
So 19.
Ugh.
So it's 19, and Gideon's is automatically 19
Yeah.
because it can't go lower.
Hey, I'm awesome.
All right. This is not enough to tell you guys exactly what happened.
I figured.
However, all of you do pick up on the fact that as far as Reiko's explanation goes, one of the details that we kind of skipped over is that Reiko was hit by something
that she could not see. You guys all kind of know from that most likely that was some form of earthbound spirit.
Right.
You know, one that like bears a grudge or something along those lines that attacked her in that moment.
It was a scream.
There was, in fact, a some sort of hissing scream that she heard.
Blow to the back of the head.
And Jerome did not see anybody there at the time.
Correct. You did not see anyone there. The other thing is that Gideon and Jerome pick up on is that as far as Reiko can recall, she doesn't remember something hitting her and knocking her out, something, striking a mortal blow to her. So one of two things has happened. One is that she literally just ran into Limbo from the physical world, or her perception of events is not entirely accurate, which makes sense because when people get into these kinds of situations, even if they have as curious and open a mind as Reiko, they cannot just determine what is exactly happening to them because it is something that most people do not have the means to accurately perceive.
Mm-hmm.
At the end, after explaining all of that, everything, Reiko is going to actually ask, by the way, I checked earlier. I couldn't tell. Do I have a bump on my head or like an open wound? Is my brain out?
I'll look.
Give me a medicine check. Yeah.
All right. 7. Well, I guess it's a 7.
Oh, it's pretty close. You don't see a bump. There's a bunch of hair. There's a bunch of hair there.
I mean, you've got hair. There's hair there.
It's a lot rarer here than it would be in the.
Is that unusual for you to have hair there?
Oh no. That's perfectly normal.
Oh well, I think you're fine.
Cool.
So to speak.
Oh yeah. I look good. That's important.
That's an interesting supposition.
Michael kind of looks between all of you guys and he says, it seems as though you guys are doing some great stuff here.
You need your desk.
I need my desk.
Yes.
So
why
I
was
probably going to send Reiko on to you guys anyway.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, we'll just take it back to our
do
office.
you mind if I take the file?
Oh sure. Yeah. Here.
Thank you.
He kind of
since you stamped it SNR already, anyways. This is going to mean.
What does that mean?
Soul not reaped.
Yes.
Wait, what?
Your soul wasn't reaped.
Nope.
If your soul had been reaped, then someone would have brought you here.
Yep.
Huh.
You kind of showed up on your own, which is really unusual. Well,
It's
increasingly
supposed
less
to be
unusual.
unusual. Sorry.
I really am going to be a complication, aren't I?
You see, one of the reasons that people have hangups that they have to encounter is because there's something that kind of tends to keep them lingering in the physical world, and that's when a Grim Reaper of some sort shows up and brings them to the afterlife physically. A lot of the people who don't need to be reaped are already just kind of go on their way and make their way along the path that they need to go. They don't tend to need a lot of direction. But someone who gets reaped tends to need direction from the get-go. Someone who isn't reaped, but still makes their way here, that's just kind of unusual.
Yes. Less so than usual, less so than normal right now, but
How many apologies do I owe you?
None. This is not your fault.
Okay.
At least I hope it's not your fault. It'd be very
I would
strange.
hope it's not.
It'd be very strange if it was your fault.
I mean, I definitely wanted to know how all this works. I wasn't exactly yearning for the experience in just that moment.
Understandable. But yeah, why don't we go back to our office?
Yeah, let's go back to the office.
Yeah.
We can
Reiko?
do things more thoroughly here.
Yes,
Reiko,
yeah.
you're going to be talking to a lot of people that are going to be helping you to figure things out. It's going to be unusual. For you, I imagine it's going to be very exciting. So I will just say, welcome to the first day of the end of your life.
Credits roll.
Michael gives her a mug.
Michael has a mug on his desk that reads, "You don't need to be dead to work here, but it helps."
No, I'm actually in Grim Fandango. Like, there's a mug that you get, and it literally says today's the first day at the end of your life.
Yep.
I thought I was making that up. So,
Nope. Have you played Grim Fandango, Nick?
no,
You should. You really like it.
You should.
Everyone tells me that. Yes. So.
Yeah.
It's good, yeah.
Anyways, why don't we head back to our office?
Before we all head off, does Michael have any like inventory to pass to Reiko at all? Because does she need an I'm new tag or something?
he gives you a lanyard.
Great. She puts it on immediately.
Something along the lines of student driver kind of thing.
So
Student corpse.
before we head over to the Gideon's office, Jerome and Tanars need to go get in contact with Maurice and Professor Bergman.
Bergman, sure.
Yes.
I'm fine with doing that. I also don't know if we need to necessarily do an entire scene for that, just for the sake of
That's a
pacing. But
Yes,
If you want to just kind of hand wave it for economy's sake, I will say that essentially you pass on stuff to them.
Mhm.
I assume that you will bring up. If you want to, you can bring up the complications to Maurice as well. But as far as you guys are concerned, as far as he is concerned for the assignments that he gave you, it seems as though you have performed your jobs to more than satisfaction. Professor Bergman is very happy to learn that his daughter is with someone who clearly cares a lot about her, and is, when you recount the story of what happened when you passed the note to her, he's got this big, huge smile on his face. He's blinking through tears, and he's just happy that he was able to be there for her in some form.
Yes. If there's still something you want to kind of suss out there, Ash, feel free. That was just my thought on the matter.
I mean, I wanted that resolved. I just wanted to leave that hanging because I knew we would forget about it. We didn't get because
yeah.
That was the B plot. Now we're on the A plot.
Yeah, we got more A plot to do here. Now let's get going.
Before we go over to the your guys' office, I'm going to hit the bathroom real quick. If we can just take a short,
no problem.
Very short.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
No worries.
We are on a short break. I mean, we're not disappearing, but I'm gonna put that up so people know.
I'd like to imagine that at some point, either Saint Jerome or Tananar drop Ludwig Bergman's name, and she'll piece together wait, Hannah Bergman, wasn't that her name? And then kind of piece together. Oh, that's why she started crying. I see.
Possibly. I said Tan is probably not going to be the one to let that information slip.
Sure.
Degree of professionalism is required after all.
Next time we're gonna literally Jerome is definitely gonna be like, you know what? I'm gonna get on Facebook real quick, find out how that went.
And so the adventures of me playing an energetic character began.
Oh geez. Jerome gets directed to a TikTok and it's just a wedding disaster.
Oh no.
Oh no. I am glad he has passed on.
Probably shouldn't tell the professor about this.
This comes to the part where exchange vows. Tries to convey "I do," but cannot find the words.
Oh dear.
While we're doing this, I'm going to catch up on the notes.
I did actually transcribe the description of the mural at the back end of the notes
I did notice
prior
that.
to last week, as it were. Because like it seemed significantly, sufficiently significant, so I actually did scribe that down.
Yeah. All the while the crew's working on Tan is being fairly quiet.
Yeah, like as they're like as Reiko and I presume that the two Reapers and her are heading off in different directions from the other two for the moment. And Reiko's just like asking like all kinds of questions. So it's like, whose office is this? What did they do? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh yeah, and Dan will answer them, and sometimes he tells the truth.
We need to see who's better at deception, whether it's Dan or a Tan.
Well, you're the bards. You probably have expertise in it.
Maybe.
I do have a question about Tan. What
Go for it.
are Tan's pronouns? I know it said okay, so like anything works. Okay.
Tan's currently presenting as male, but Tan responds to anything.
Fair enough.
Because I was for a second there, I was thinking like, isn't it they them? I'm like, oh Christ, is Michael just misgendering? I'm like, that's not cool.
If Tan was being a jerk,
like the question did kind of occur.
If Tan was being a jerk, they could just be like, anytime you attempt to gender them, you're misgendering them. So it's just like. I will say I am reminded of one contributor in the Magic the Gathering circle, Spice 8 Rec, whose pronouns are it. That /they/him. He goes because he has peak goblin energy, so
right.
He just goes with it as the pronoun. Just like that's pretty great, honestly.
Oof. All right, I'm back.
Yes.
Welcome back.
All right.
So
As we finally arrive at the office. It was a long haul.
But yeah, I basically sort of assumed that Jerome and Ten went off to do the thing, and I gave them directions how to get to my office.
Sure.
Yeah.
When they finished.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is everyone here back? Sorry.
Sure, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Erica here. Okay.
Okay. I'm here.
Okay. All right, you guys get back to Dentalian and Gideon's offices. Word, you see lots and lots of files lying around. It looks bizarrely like some sort of 30s detective's office, but also with certain more modern amenities that okay, there's like a computer that looks like it's from the 80s sitting on one of the desks and stuff.
This is a very recent looking coffee maker, though.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. They got top of the line coffee maker right now.
Well, of
That shit will kill you.
All right.
Everyone feel free to grab a chair or a pile of books or whatever. I think
Considering the size of the files, Reiko might opt to just sit on her file.
I might need
if not for the fact that you need to read it.
Yeah. I will set the file down. I will set the file down on the desk and proceed to make coffee.
No, not for me. I'm a tea person.
One moment. I rummage around in a cabinet looking for an electric equivalent of electric kettle. Aha! Not even very dusty. You're not entirely sure how I blow the dust off it, but I do.
I have full confidence in your ability to do so.
I don't have lips.
When would that stop anyone?
I'm just saying. Yeah, so I'll get some water boiling for that also.
I don't know. That might hurt a bit. Just saying.
Drago's kind of like in the interpretation of there's a not insignificant degree of your mind makes it real in all of this.
That is entirely accurate. But yes, so yes, while that's all brewing and boiling and stuff, right. So, Miss Yamashita-san, we will be discussing your particular case. Basically, you've been assigned to us. We need to help you. We're going to try to help figure out where you're supposed to end up.
Right.
Right. Michael was kind of talking about that and listed some options, and it sounds to me like there's a third option here.
There's a lot of options and a lot of possibilities. Michael, I believe, was simplifying.
Or being polite. I think he was being polite.
Part of his job is to be polite, and part of his job is to narrow the scope so as to not overwhelm new arrivals.
And yeah, I'm not going to be going into full details on that sort of thing. My job and Dan's job, Dantalian's job, is to, while I am technically speaking a Reaper, I have been assigned to investigating cases where a soul isn't sure where it's supposed to go, and try to help figure out where it's supposed to go.
Right.
That's becoming more of an issue over the past couple of centuries.
Right.
It used to be so much.
The possibilities that Michael was presenting would be the ones along that line of things, and then there's this whole SNR thing complicating things.
Yes. Well, SNR is more about the fact that the soul was not reaped, and the files here on the desk, outside of yours, interestingly enough, are souls that showed up not reaped, right, and at the offices, and they were sent to us, and they never got here.
Yeah. Happens a lot, unfortunately.
Yes, and that's
more often than
that's one of the things that Dantali and I are looking into, and I'm actually very glad that we managed to intercept you before you disappeared.
Yeah.
It sounded like I wasn't really going to be going anywhere anyway, so easy interception, I guess. It sounds to me like I was supposed to basically be a missing person, but I found myself.
I don't know. That's one of the things we do want to talk to you about. But additionally, since Jerome and Ten, the information you guys have presented, this has all gotten a lot more complicated.
I'm sorry.
That's not your fault.
Jerome's like, considering your name, I'm pretty sure it's whoever named you's fault.
Oh,
wait. Was that directed at
I just got that.
Yeah.
Jerome said that too. Says that to Reiko.
Oh. Yeah, my mom gave me this name. Damn it, Mom.
Oh. Huh. Ironic.
From a long line of people living under the mountain, and then she goes and names me Spirit of the Woman Under the Mountain, and look where I ended up. Thanks, Mom.
Huh. That's a level of dramatic irony you don't get very often.
Yeah, nice to appreciate it. I appreciate a bit of comic comedy.
It's right out of there. It's right up there in like a kind of dumb media name.
So,
at any rate, well, I am open to theories and avenues of investigation.
Well, the first thing to do is figure out where you deserve to go. So
yes, where's she supposed to go? Indeed.
That's a good question. I don't really know. I hadn't really finished my thesis, as it were.
I was really hoping you weren't going to say something like that.
I'm sorry.
Again, not your fault.
This is going to be a thing, isn't it?
Probably.
I'm sorry.
Well, unfinished business is more Tananar's business deal than us.
Yeah.
But we do have to figure out where you're going.
All right. Well, according to the file, your parents were Buddhist, correct?
Yeah.
That's not your thing. Not your thing.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure.
Like
It's-
there's some parts of it that I think are true, but not the whole thing. And boy, howdy, they will not let that go. Especially my mom.
fair enough.
I mean, the advantage of that is that you do get to have another go if you like.
I mean,
I
it's
almost feel like she gave me this name in an attempt to as like some kind of a long con or something.
anyways. It's just that things like this. Your background influences where your journey, obviously. So that's why I brought it up. And
Right.
you've been studying this sort of thing for quite some time, huh?
Yep, ever since I was 5.
Huh.
I'm just like,
It was-
what?
Well, when
Oh.
I was 5, one of my uncles had a car collision, and well, I started asking, well, what's all this about? And then I got like kind of a religious response, but then like the things that my parents were saying weren't really consistent with a lot of the things that other people were saying, and that got me like really curious. So I started asking some other family members who were not my parents, and they started giving me all kinds of other information. And then by the time I was in my teens, I was working around with Ouija boards and just figuring out like all kinds of new stuff and looking into like independent research. The internet is wonderful.
Oh, right, yes, the internet.
Right. That's a what a
Huh.
terrible idea that ended up being.
Well, our version of it seems to work reasonably well.
And
Yeah, I suppose there are a few guys that are going to the bad place when they come around, though.
Well, yes, yes.
isn't that just kind of how like any kind of invention works? Someone makes a thing, someone abuses thing, and then they end up going to a bad place eventually.
Uh,
You'd be surprised.
yeah.
Well, anyway,
At any rate, yes, irrelevant though for the current situation. So you don't have a particular notion of your own right now. Where you're supposed to go.
theorem is incomplete, or was. There's more of an idea of how things probably work now, but there's still more research that I'd like to do.
Well, all right. That's actually an avenue to explore. Well, we could put you in contact with some people who could help you sort of help further your research into the way the afterlife is supposed to work. I suppose that might give you some closure and give you some indication where you think you're supposed to end up.
Be pretty okay with just helping work around here.
I mean,
imagine that would be pretty informative, while also being practical.
technically speaking, I mean, yes, that would actually also qualify. And that, I mean, if that is your preference, I can't. I can put you. We can definitely set you up with some people to help, where you could help out working around here, so to further your own research that way. That's although given what's been going on with the whole SNR thing, it's probably for the best if someone keeps tabs on you so that you don't just go disappearing the way these other ones have.
I was going to say, like, being in some kind of manner of helping out, I think, sure, like, do provisional thing, like, let me, promote him, she says, pointing at Dan, and let me have, his current role. And, like, That way you can keep tabs on me and I can be helpful and we can figure this out together.
Like Jerome
Yeah,
is
that works.
just
That
looking
works for me.
around.
I can't promote Dantalion personally. That has to do with. Speaking of which, that you really should talk to Robert about this sort of thing.
Yeah, we'll get back to that. So, Reiko, again, tell us about your research into the various aspects, cultural aspects of death.
Hang on, I need to see if this is too soon or not.
Okay.
Fair enough.
While this is going on, Jerome is just kind of like looking around the room and all the unsolved cases and wondering why Gideon isn't jumping on having anybody help out with this.
Yeah, that's a good.
No. You'll see in a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so gentiliality does not prevail. It sounds like you're trying to avoid this, Robert.
God, why would you say that? Anyway, so
That was a very quick transition you made there.
Dantalion,
After
make a deception roll.
suspiciously specific denial.
Dantalion, make a deception roll.
Oh no!
Yeah, Reiko, he's very clearly avoiding this issue.
but despite being a black void hovering in the air, he sort of gets sort of does that sort of like blank wooden look of someone who is really bad at lying but trying to be good at it.
Despite that he's actually very good at it. It's just
Reiko,
Caught
this is
flat-footed.
Reiko, Dantalion is a shadow man. He has no facial features, and yet somehow you see his eye tick.
Right. Well, we'll get back to the whole Robert. As I said, I can't promote Dantalion and have you take his place.
I think I'd look good in a cloak.
That's entirely possible, and not really the issue at hand. However,
the cloak's got out of style.
wait a
again?
second, Reiko,
believe that-
I have a question.
I believe that no one here is wearing a cloak, by the way.
No. Amusingly, no. I miss mine, but I'm not wearing one. No. The morphology of it, the morphology of being an investigator does not allow for a cloak.
Right. Anyway, Gideon had a question.
Yes, Yamashita-san, you were an academic, correct?
Yep.
You are.
Died on a dig.
How do you feel about research and going through lots of paperwork?
Is that an invitation?
It's a question.
Sounds like an invitation.
It's
Yes.
It's a potential one, but I need to know the answer to the question first. Well,
It depends on what the subject matter is, but I'm going to guess that it's that pile right there. She says, looking at the SNRs.
that would be where you would be starting. Yes, I have a lot of files, and I can't go through all of them. And
we tried.
We
keep on getting more.
We've tried. And
she points at the computer. Does that thing have a spreadsheet?
Make a roll a d20 for me, guys.
Sure, I'll roll one.
Of course not.
Nope.
Yeah.
I will look at you. Spreadsheet.
The person who invented Microsoft Excel wasn't around to bring it over here. So, but you think
that's
that
just a terminal? We all know computers are the size of rooms.
Yeah.
Tell you what. Now, Gideon and Gideon actually make an insight roll for me.
All right. As an aside, my passive is 16.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll just go with that.
But we'll roll it. I'll roll it anyways, just because. 12.
I'm just going to say that by the way that Reiko talks...
Sorry, no, my passive is 11. I'm sorry. My perception passive is 16.
Okay. We'll just say
so I rolled
that...
above my passive.
Okay. We'll just say that the way that Reiko talks about it, it's not as if it's some obscure
right. It's just something I don't
like that.
It's just something I don't recognize the name of.
So you think it may be possible that one of the more tech-savvy people who is in Limbo might be able to whip you up a facsimile of one?
I don't think there's one on there, but I'm not sure what a spreadsheet is, but I'm not the most technically savvy individual here in Limbo.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not sure what you'd use it, how that would even work. I mean, it's just like... I mean, I barely understand DOS as it is.
Oh boy.
All right. Why don't I call one of my associates who knows a bit more about technology, and we'll see if he can set up a facsimile of what you're looking for. But yes, honestly, we should probably... Okay. We're going to need to expand the office. All right. Anyways,
Is there anything special about that, or is it actually just construction?
I don't know. I just know it's done. Probably will. I'll ask for it done, and by the time if assuming that you are cleared for it, will probably have a. Speaking of which, you are interested in the position, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. I will pick up the phone equivalent, but I'm guessing it's actually a phone.
It is actually a phone. Yes.
And I will proceed to dial, and yes, it is a dial.
Yes, it is a rotary phone.
It is a rotary phone.
They did start to install pushpad phones, and you were just like, why? Why do I need one of those?
Listen.
At the very least, at least it's made from Bakelite and not like wood and horn.
Yeah. Also, I just love the image of the bony finger going into the rotary phone. And
sure.
Yeah.
It's one of those old ones with the call directory.
So, for my own sake here,
Yeah.
I want to clarify because Jerome and Tan had gone to do their short meeting with Maurice and catch up on stuff. Are you guys here now? And that this is up to you guys.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Tan is specifically leaning by the window and coat rack, just arms crossed.
Yes.
Both
By
of
the way,
you can make.
By the way, I'll also say if you either of you, please feel free to help yourself to coffee or there. By the way, there should be a box of tea bags there next to the pot, and those mugs there should be clean.
Okay, I'm going to ask a question, then I'm going to make a request. Reiko, you are currently on about this whole thing with everything. So I'm going to say, like, literally, is there like any concern in your mind about anything else right now, and if so, are you making any efforts to hide it?
She's pretty interested in how like the whole SNR thing is shaking out, and like if she had any worldly concerns, if that's what you're getting at right now, she is tremendously distracted by all of this.
Okay. So we're going to say that you're not actively trying to deceive anyone right now, so you've got a passive of 10. So Jerome and Tan, you guys can make insight checks against that.
All right.
And I'll tell you based on how much you beat it by if you beat it.
Unfortunately, Tan rolls a 1, but
okay.
Yeah.
Tan, you've got your earlier concerns from when you were talking when you had first met, so that stuff is still on your mind, I will say. And the stuff that you've got going on right now, that your conclusions about that or your suppositions about that have not been thrown off in any way by anything. Jerome, it does occur to you that in addition to just having information that might reflect on this case, that purely by the nature of Reiko having come here and needing to take up at least a semi-permanent residence here,
that she would probably have something going on. You don't have the file. You haven't had the conversation with Michael, so you don't know what it is yet. But you think that there is something that you would want to do about this, especially because Reiko doesn't know exactly how she died. And so there might be something to that. It's not really your purview to investigate into that kind of thing, but there is probably something there that's going to be related to your job to do.
Yeah, that was kind of how I was assuming it too. Like Jerome is very like, okay, she's being very flippant about a lot of things that most people take very seriously. Something's probably going on here, and that's not even getting into the whole circumstances of how she got here.
Right.
Yeah.
Does
And
just-
Tan,
sorry.
sorry. This is for you as well, Skitch. Even though you did roll a nat 1 here, you have that earlier observation. You're basically thinking along the line. You've got that thought along the lines on the other side of the coin. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess do Tan and Jerome like lock eyes for a moment and then like have like the mental connection of like we should have a powwow real quick right now about this.
Yeah, that kind of seems like
that's a
that might be the way to do it.
In that case, Tan will just say with the offer of coffee. Oh no, that's fine. I'm just going to step out and get some stale air for a moment. So I'll be right back.
Oh, that's fine.
Stale
air. Yeah, I'll be just outside the door.
That's quite all right.
Jerome's like, oh, I'll be right back as well. I need to go visit the other little owl's room.
We have a little
Yeah.
Wait, do you still need to do that when you're dead?
If you feel like it.
All right.
I ate a lot of mice while we were in the living world.
That's to hawk up a pellet.
I feel like I'm being given the runaround, but I don't feel like pursuing this.
Actually, I would insist. I don't think 10 hours is lying per se because I think certain indulgences or just sensory experiences can
I
be
gotta step away real quick.
with,
I'll be right back.
Okay.
Can be engaged with if someone seeks them out. But anyways.
All right. So yeah, I'm going to. I'm going to call someone to see if I can arrange for Reiko to take up that sort of position, more office space for her and a desk for her, and see if I can find someone who knows something about tech to this whole spreadsheet thing.
Okay.
And
Reiko will write down a list of various like software versions of spreadsheets that she's used over the years, and just like if any of these are available or anything prior to them are available, that's good. These are what to look for.
Okay, I will read those over the phone.
You'll
Probably try to arrange lodging for her because she probably will need that.
Yeah. Okay. You get in touch with someone at among your contacts that you normally call to say, hey, this person needs like an apartment or something like that.
And this is one of the things that they're going to need.
Right. And in this case, they're like,
I have a list of things, and I'm going to somewhat apologetic, but also trying to being as persuasive as I can be, which is actually quite persuasive, it turns out.
Okay. Because you are asking for, resources.
Yes.
I guess, so yeah. Okay.
So I'm assuming I'm going to make a persuasion roll for this.
Yeah. Go ahead. And do that. Sure.
All right.
Make sure to ask for one more thing once you're done with the first.
Well, yes,
request,
I will go through parts of that. I was going there. All right. So yes. Totally average roll for me.
Average roll. All right. 15's. I mean, that's pretty good. So.
You
start making requests on certain stuff, and when you get
one more thing. Spreadsheets. Do you know what they are?
Yeah, I've heard about them. What's this for exactly?
this for Reiko Yamashita's computer at the as I mentioned, the expanding, adding her for the short term at least. She's going to be helping me out with research, with research and such, as a way for her to look into her, to further expand and sort of refine her theories on death, so she can figure out where she's supposed to go. This is what she's expressed interest in, and I figure that would play well into it. And she requested a spreadsheet of some sort to help go through the files. And I don't know what that is, but she mentioned programs such as a Microsoft Word as one of the things. Sorry, Excel, not Word. Yes. Hang on a second.
I'm thinking VisiCalc, maybe. What are some other good ones there?
What's a patch you open Office?
LibreOffice. Smartsheet.
There's the vague sound of something being scribbled down on the other line.
And
Lotus 123. That's
that one.
the most
Yes.
likely way to get.
Hey, you guys.
Google is helpful.
Oh,
Yeah, somehow I don't think Google Sheets is going to be available. Just as a guess.
VisiCalc. There you
No,
go.
it is 100% no way. No, you're not gonna-
It's VisiCalc. That's all you get.
all right, you make all these requests. Gideon, you don't have any trouble requisitioning these items.
Right.
Although, and because of your persuasion score, this part of it is not a concern. But after you have gone through your list and you've gone through a couple, one more thing,
Yeah.
and done that once or twice, the person that they're in the line says, just to check, this is Reaper Gideon, right?
Yes, this is.
You're asking to expand your office and staff?
Yes.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, we'll get you what you need.
I'm scared too.
Is Reiko in the room to hear this?
I mean, he's on the phone.
Yeah.
Make a perception check to hear it. I don't know.
I'm not hiding this.
Yeah.
Can I hear the other side?
That's
Yes.
what the role is. Yeah. So apparently, Reiko, the person that Gideon's talking to thinks it's unusual for him to do this.
Yeah.
So
I'll put it this way. Gideon doesn't have ears, so like I'm not holding up against anything soft to mute the phone against.
fair enough. It echoes off of the inside of your head.
Yeah, basically.
It all just comes out his eye sockets.
All right.
Reiko will not make a comment while he's on the phone, but she is tracking this.
All right. Well, you guys start getting set up to have Reiko brought onto the staff in something of a clerical role.
He
while
had
you
a
guys-
secretary.
I was not going
I
to
was
use
gonna
that.
say,
No,
I was not going to use that terminology because
I was.
Okay.
I wasn't.
And while you guys are doing this, making arrangements,
She's a research
for
assistant.
her, Tan and Jerome, you guys have stepped outside.
Yes.
All right.
Just
Yeah.
Do you want to start? Do you want me to start?
You go ahead and start.
This whole situation seems more off than usual.
Jerome kind of nods his owlish head. He's like, I agree. She hasn't brought up anything about notifying her loved ones or regrets or any
Exactly.
lost thing.
There's a moment where Taylor arms just kind of go up in a big sort of flourish. She's sort of exactly.
It seems that
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Sorry.
No, even Jerome was kind of like everyone has loved ones.
I think that her romanticism about the afterlife might have been putting some blinders on her about things happening around her, or rather, back where we came from. It seemed that, and I'm not sure what would be the most appropriate way to breach that topic. I don't like being a wet blanket at a party. but this is something that should be brought up because, to the point that Michael and the others have mentioned, it's hard for her to reach. It was probably more difficult for her to reach closure when she is almost ignoring things related to the corporeal realm.
Jerome kind of nods. It's like, perhaps we should broach the subject of retrieving her laptop or other research so she can compile that here and just use that as an excuse to get some more information about things going on in her life.
We have typewriters in the complex, but laptops, whatever those things really are a bit beyond what we have easy access for. I think we might need to resort to a more direct approach to this matter in just talking it out. There's also the matter that the painting that you saw appeared to be on her body, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Jerome's like, his eyes kind of widen. He's like, oh, that's actually true.
And
Leaving
you
the
said
one
there was no
we know
body
about.
found at the site where you saw that painting.
And I didn't see anybody there. Uh-oh.
Jerome, make a flat intelligence check for me, if you would.
All right. A flat intelligence check.
I'm going to add guidance to this. No, just kidding.
Just one.
Pretty good. It's pretty good. You realize in this moment that Reiko had told you that she found this painting, and of course you know for a fact it's the same painting because you have seen the sketch she made of it. All the same details are there that you took in when you were looking inside that cavern. Part of her explanation of the events was that she saw an opening while things were falling around her, and then she ran through it. You don't remember seeing any of that kind of opening when you poked your head into that cavern. And like I said before, that could very well just be a matter of when weird things like that are happening to someone, or when they have a not even near death but actual death experience. They don't remember all details 100%. It could very well just be that. But you know for a fact that, like, okay, this doesn't quite match up.
It's like, I have two thoughts. One, we may want to go and re-examine the scene of her departure. But before that, I want to do a quick investigation on Reiko herself. While it's true that some people don't always remember things that happened to them during their final moments, it's also entirely possible someone may have altered her memory of the events. And I have ways of detecting that.
I have the conclusion that I want to draw, but I don't think Tan has the basis to draw the conclusion.
We could talk about it later if you want, and you can just run it by me, and we can decide if Tan might have some sort of insight to that.
Right. But Tan will just cross his arms and then just muse softly, like.
Still, even with the amount of souls not reaped cases that Gideon is up to, this still reads as a very different sort of case altogether.
Yeah, Jerome just nods, like she's definitely not been reaped, but I think we would know if there were more not reaped people walking around. Where are they?
Well, I believe that we can say that you've relieved yourself sufficiently. I suppose we should get back in there and keep an eye on the situation.
Jerome's just like, all right, wait, one moment. He goes to the water closet, and he pulls like the chain on the thing, and then he's like, he waits till it's done, and then he pulls it again. It's like, okay, let's go.
I don't know. I don't know how the hell Tan and Jerome became this so quickly. This is just very, very good energy between these two.
All right. With the sound of a toilet flushing twice, Tan and Jerome re-enter the office.
Good. So, have you guys do you two have any questions for Reiko after your little conversation?
I have some inklings of something. Reiko, would you consent to a little ritual?
I like rituals.
Oh, good. You're gonna like this one. So at this point, Jerome he opens up his bag he's got with him, and what does he need for this? He pulls out a pearl, a large pearl, and he pulls one of his own owl feathers out.
Does that hurt?
It's like, notice what you'd think. Don't worry, they grow back. All right. So all you need to do is sit here for 1 moment, and he's going to use his ability to do the ritual quickly, because there's really no reason to worry about it right now, and just cast Identify as a ritual on Reiko while he's casting it, because that way he will know if she's under the effect of any kind of spells.
All right, I'm looking at your sheet here. Let me just double check this.
I like the idea. I like the notion
So
to be like, sorry, go ahead.
All right, you choose one object that you must touch throughout the casting of the spell. If it is a magic item or some other magic-imbued object, you learn its properties and how to use them, whether it requires attunement to use, and how many charges it has, if any. If you instead touch a creature through the casting, you learn what spells, if any, are currently affecting it. Okay. Jerome, make an Arcana check.
All right.
I always heard that Narcana check, which is pretty great. Honestly.
Narcotic. I'm gonna use my reroll on that. That's a little low.
Okay.
There you go. That's better.
Oh, that's a little higher.
For the record, that is a natural 2 followed by a natural 3.
That is
part of me is
unfortunate.
like, oh shit, I want to use the 1 D&D rules and 2 reaction bardic inspiration. That's not gonna help enough though here.
Jerome, you do not sense any magical effects affecting Reiko beyond the fact that she is a soul. So to you, it's basically just like it is the equivalent of you touching someone and not feeling any magical effects on them.
So he can't.
Reiko has been identified as an attractive young dead woman.
So, but you also did say, like, she is in fact a soul right now. She's not like a living person here.
Yes, I will definitely clarify that. That the spell just tells you that without you having to delve any deeper. This is a soul that you are touching. You have ruled out the possibility that somehow Reiko physically stepped into the river Styx and then into Limbo. This is her soul. It is not her body.
Congratulations, you are in fact dead, and this isn't a bizarre and horrifying misunderstanding.
like Jerome's like rolls his eyes back from the back of his head, and he's like, "Well, I have some good. Well, I guess it's good news for you. So the good news is, I can in fact confirm that there are no magical effects on you. The other good news, I guess, for you is that you are actually dead. So you didn't walk here. Well,
I mean, I did, but I was dead when I did it.
So that makes things a lot easier for all of us. We don't have to worry about any really weird stuff happening while you're here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I was first approaching the area where I found Sharon, like I couldn't see anything without my light. But as I was coming towards this place, I turned my light off and I could see everything just fine. And I definitely couldn't do that when I was alive.
That may It may simply be a natural talent. We all change when we cross over. I mean, he mentions to himself the fact that he's a 5-foot owl.
Hmm.
Like this, this was done to me. Like I didn't choose this.
Did someone really like the Dewey Decimal System all over you?
That's disgusting.
The what now?
awful. But the point I'm making is sometimes when we cross over, things awaken within us that are either as a result of our fates or just natural parts of our personality.
By the way, everyone except for Gideon probably knows what the Dewey Decimal System is if they've ever set foot in a library
Right.
ever.
And it usually has an owl mascot,
Yes,
at
it
least
does.
by my track.
Oh, I've never seen that.
No,
Honestly,
I haven't either, but
I'm familiar with it myself, but yeah.
not the owl
Yeah.
part, but yeah.
My point is just that Gideon is the only person who would have a chance of not being familiar with it,
Oh no, it's just
essentially. So
making a joke like that is entirely in Dantalion's wheelhouse.
Sure.
though.
While this conversation is going on between Jerome and Reiko with Tan as well, there is another hiss as a pneumatic message arrives through your system. This
grab
one
the
has a
tube.
couple. Right, Gideon. There are a couple things in it. One is just like approval of the requisition that you have made, and there's also a note that is clearly for Dentalion.
Dan, this is for you, and you've been approved. You've been approved, Rico. Wonderful.
Nice to see something works quickly around here. What's the note say?
Did I get one of these? She points at the pneumatic system.
We'll see. I don't know what they're going to do with the office yet.
Fair enough.
Dentalion, there is a short message on the paper that you pull out that just says, Michael said you'd be good for Thursday. See you then.
The note catches fire and explodes. I have prestidigitation.
I guess it was Robert.
Can
huh?
you teach me to do that?
It's just a thing that happens sometimes.
So what did Robert have to say?
Who?
So it wasn't Robert.
Very specific denial over there.
I must have misrecognized the handwriting because I do that so often.
You do. It's it's a terrible habit of yours. Yep. I'd say get your eyes checked, but you don't have any.
I have eyes.
Sadly, the notes
For now.
burst into flame. I can't confirm or deny it anymore. Darn shame.
All right, I will leave it entirely up to you guys on what you want to leave off on. I'm basically have given you guys what I have planned for this session.
That's fair.
If you guys want to continue having these conversations, that's fine. For until you guys are done.
I'm not sure where I want to go yet. I need to think on it. So
Sure.
I also have things I got to do. So
yeah, fair enough. I think this is a good break point personally, but that's up to you guys. Everyone else.
yeah.
All right. So in that case, we will call it here for this episode of D&D Abeyance. Thank you everyone for joining us. We should return with another episode soon as Reiko continues to get settled in Limbo, and we'll see if you guys can solve some mysteries and such.
All right. Thank you for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Yes,
Bye,
sir.
guys.